December 2023, the ASTM ballot F2959 came out with hopes that we can save the zipline industry from more accidents. One of the braking system additions is spring brakes and friction brakes. Now, gravity braking is still there, which is kind of ludicrous. Gravity braking has problems. The problems are the weight of the rider. Because momentum increases as your zipline rider gets heavier. And most of that increase is after all these zipliners have reached the bottom of your zipline, which is the vertex. And it's when they're coming out of that bottom of the zipline where the heavier riders come in faster than 6 miles per hour. And often your lighter riders are much safer. Now that's the problem with two-wheel zipline trolleys. Two-wheel zipline trolleys have no brakes. And if you're relying on some other device, like this thing, or some other patron-assisted or staff-assisted brake system, it's only a matter of time before something happens. I'm going to show you videos of different accidents that I've investigated. Accidents that seriously injured the patron. It's unfortunate that these ziplines didn't incorporate a zipline braking system that was an emergency brake, because at 6 miles per hour, that arrival speed at 6 miles per hour requires an emergency brake. Now we know a little bit about zipline braking. We built the first giant zipline at a ski resort in Park City, Utah in 2002. The trolley that we developed was an auto braking trolley with 2 brakes. That auto braking trolley and a spring array has kept that zipline safe for over 22 years. That zipline also paid for itself within 6 months. Now granted, location, location, location. Park City is a nice place to go ziplining. But my first accident investigation was also in that area, and it was because a friction brake trolley went down the zipline without being tested after they replaced the brake. The patron came in extremely hot because the friction brake had not been properly seated and broken in after the replacement. It's always wise, if you replace a zipline brake on one of my trolleys, that you test it at least 2 or 3 times, preferably 3. And make sure that all weights of riders are coming in within a few feet of each other. And that's the beauty of our friction-based trolleys. One, they're fail-safe, meaning they have 2 brakes, so if one fails, you have another one. But we also actually want you to purchase a spring system to go along with that, to keep your zipliner safe. Things happen. I understand that. I owned a zipline. I had a zipline staff member put the trolley on backwards. We didn't realize that the trolley worked the same backwards. There was a slight amount of difference, maybe a few feet is all. And that's when my second patent came through, 2013. My first zipline accident investigation came after the death of a honeymoon groom at Heavenly Resort in Reno, Nevada. Tragic accident that could have been prevented. My next accident led me to the career as an expert witness. And I've continued to investigate accidents for 7 years. After earning my engineering degree and starting my company, Momentum Engineering, I began seeing how my products, my 2003 patent and my 2013 patent, could be easily modified, and I could create some new patents, which I have. 3 more auto braking trolleys and a telescoping spring. Now, telescoping springs have huge advantages for these smaller courses that may not have a 60-foot platform like Park City Mountain Resort had to put an array of springs. There's a big difference in springs. When we built Park City Mountain Resort, we put on springs like this. This spring here has one compression rate every inch that's the same. This one, I believe, is around 40-50 pounds of compression for every inch. Now, these are our old springs. There are companies that are selling them. I probably should have got a patent on this. We took it to the next level because we're inventors at Momentum Engineering. We develop products. So we developed this telescoping spring. It has multiple compression rates. So you see how easy it is for me to squeeze the spring in the center? It's much harder out at the end. So you have a telescoping spring that the energy is absorbed from two directions. So it starts in the center and spreads out. This spring has a 1,000,000 life cycle. We recommend 200,000 cycles, or 4 years, before replacement. But for now, just know that we have solutions at ziplinebrakingsolutions.com. You can also see our YouTube channel, which has other insights that involve our industry. One of the industry insights I wanted to share with you is after I went to IAAPA in Orlando in October. One of the insights I want to share with you is my experience at the International Association for Amusement Parks and Attractions. This was a great conference. I was in the booth with American Adventure Park Systems, a company who has licensed my patents. They can see the benefit of adding a spring system to zip lines that are over 5 miles per hour, which is easy to do. I've been on zip lines that the elevation change between one tower to the other is less than 15 feet, and I reach speeds over 5 miles per hour. The interesting thing about zip lines is momentum is a huge factor if you're using two-wheeled trolleys. Two-wheeled trolleys are extremely dangerous. 15 accidents for every 100, and half of them are breaking, and it's 99% a two-wheeled trolley that was the problem. Two-wheeled trolleys should be banned. They don't do any braking, and you accelerate at 95% gravity is what Petzl told me about their tandem speed. 95% gravity. Gravity is 9.8 meters per second, or 32 feet per second. That's how fast you fall. And if the trolley is capable of 95% of that, you're going to be coming in extremely fast. The beauty about our zipline braking systems is they meet the standards. And we've been meeting or exceeding the standards for decades. We go above it with our fail-safe trolley by asking our clients to add a spring system, because things happen. I owned a zipline. The zipline I owned, I had all kinds of different staff. And some of the staff don't pay attention. 2009 zipline that you'll see in the background, the Spanish Fork, we had this behemoth trolley. This was the same one that paid for Park City Mountain Resort zipline in 6 months. So the trolley, we learned, was capable of going down the zipline this way, but our staff member put it on 180 degrees different, and it went down this way. Now what we learned from that is this trolley can be rotated 180 degrees. So that was the formation of my second patent in 2013. Since 2013, my accident investigations have increased. 70% of the accidents I investigate are braking related. You'll see some of the accidents that are from my clients who never wanted to be injured. They didn't go to that zip line to find out that they weren't going to be walking the same on the way home. And so as I watched and started investigating and going to site visits, and seeing what the needs were for these zipline owners, I developed several products, and this is my 2024 version. This is the RST, or Richardson Safety Trolley 24V. You'll notice it has one wheel and two brakes. The white one is the primary brake, and the black one is the fail-safe. As this trolley rides on top of the cable, the brake rubs on the top, so water presents a huge factor. Now you have to be concerned, but with my old trolley, the brake was on the bottom, and so water created a lower coefficient of friction, and you had to be aware of that. This trolley eliminates many problems with zipline braking. The beauty about this trolley is it has pin locations 1, 2, and 3 that you can move, and this is designed for most zip lines using a two-wheel trolley. As you move closer to the wheel, which the wheel's here, you get less braking. Now the beauty of this is your 35-pound rider, not 80, your 35-pound rider puts 35 pounds of force on this brake to stop them a few feet away from a 300-pound rider who is putting 300 pounds of force on the brake. Now what we learned is the heavier riders come in slightly slower. If you're a builder and you routinely go out and set up a zip line, and then a few weeks or months later you're out there tightening up the zip line because people are not coming in. But if you have one of these trolleys and you've set it up with your pin placement in 3 for your zip line for all riders, all weights of riders, and now all of a sudden they're coming in too slow. Well, if they're coming in too slow, you're locating them too close to the brake pad. So by moving them away from the brake pad into pin placement 2 or 1, you're going to speed this trolley up. Not by much. And what we do before we send you a trolley that only has 3 pin placements is we send you out a test trolley. Test trolleys have multiple pin placements where you locate the rider, because this is where the rider hangs. This is handles, so if you want handles, I'll give you some suggestions. So with this wheel and this brake, you have all these different pin placements, because where you locate this slider is where you're going to apply the brake force. More brake force, closer to the brake. Less brake force, closer to the wheel. It's simple. We ask our zipline owners to keep track of temperatures. Most people don't realize that a 1/2-inch cable that is 1,000 feet long will shrink or grow 2 inches with every 20-degree temperature difference. You may have wondered why, when it gets hot, your lightweight riders are being rescued more often. And it's because your cable is sagging more. There's more uphill movement to get them to your platform. They're lower because the cable has stretched, and now they've got to climb up to that cable, and the lighter weight riders are not making it. And I've seen accidents because of this. The staff member's not paying attention. They don't realize that the lightweight rider came in, something happened. Maybe they're communicating with the wrong person. They don't even know that there's a patron on the line, and then they send somebody down. Now, with this accident type has occurred quite often, and there are ways around this. One of the ways that I recommend is a 3-to-1 factor of safety. Meaning, when you're ready to send your zipliner, and the guide at the bottom has said, okay, we're ready to send, then the guide at the top grabs the radio and says, we're sending the zipliner. And then take it one step further. Ask the patron if they heard the last guy at the bottom platform say it's okay to zipline. Some of the tragic accidents that I've seen are crashes into people. For some reason or another, their trolley stopped before they reached the platform, and the guide, who is not paying attention, says something like, are you going to send the zipliner? So then they send another one, because the guide on top doesn't realize that the zipliner didn't make it in.